Hello, and welcome to this IChemE in Conversation video with Andrea Hosey, Vice President Member Engagement, and me, Andrew Foster, the Regions Director at IChemE. Today, we're going to share a few insights on our first year in office, the newly created Member Engagement Committee, and highlight some of the work that we've been doing to improve how you, our members, experience being a member of IChemE. Andrea, 25 years ago, you and I worked together on a pioneering gas field development project, and I'm delighted to be working with you again after all this time. So, without further ado, where should we start?
Well, thanks, Andrew. I mean, there's so much we could talk about, but I'd like to keep this to three areas. I'd like to reflect on why I volunteered and what we've enjoyed since we both took on our roles. I'd like to give everyone an update on where the Member Engagement Committee is and how we'll be improving the member experience. And then I'd like to look to the future and the role of the local member groups. I think a message to you, the membership, and I speak for Andrew and myself when I say that we actually love to hear from you, our members. And I'll give you some ways to communicate with us at the end of this conversation. Yes.
Great. So we'll explore those three areas in a moment, but first, tell us a little bit about what you've enjoyed in your first year in office and some of the initiatives that you've been working on.
Well, I think like most members who volunteer, I did it because I wanted to make a difference. And so I really love meeting the members and helping them feel that they're also making a difference, and that they're getting the most out of being part of a professional institute for their own career journey. So what I've really enjoyed, I've enjoyed setting up the Member Engagement Committee, which I think showcases the diversity and the global nature of our institute. I've enjoyed getting membership feedback through the surveys and the Congress feedback, but more importantly, setting up a forum for improved collaboration across the member group chairs globally. And personally, I guess the passion of mine is promoting the student and early careers membership through improved representation and for more interactive events like the recent hackathon at IChemE in Australia this year.
Yeah, that's great, Andrea. And I know that's something you particularly enjoyed at IChemE recently. I've certainly enjoyed my first year at IChemE, and I've got a great team based around the world, in the UK, in Australia and New Zealand, and in Malaysia. And I've enjoyed getting to know them and trying to get the best from them in order to give a consistent and improving level of service to our membership, wherever they are in the world. I've enjoyed working with you and the other trustees on the Board of Trustees and the IChemE senior management team, in particular, as we start to develop ideas around the next phase of strategy out to 2028. So tell us a bit more about the status of the Member Engagement Committee and how that's helping us to change the way members experience what IChemE has to offer.
Okay, thanks. So the Member Engagement Committee is an IChemE first at this level, and it's been set up to be deliberately diverse across membership grades, location, industry sectors, and of course, gender, and ensuring that we have representation across our full membership. And its work is informed by feedback from the membership themselves, from the 2021 Member Engagement Survey and the more recent Volunteer Engagement Survey. And so from that, we've identified three areas to work on, the first being what we call career journey support, which includes mentoring, CPD support, and that broader networking. The second area being student and early careers, and finally some additional support to really important volunteers. So overlaid on these areas as well across all the three topics, we're working with yourself and your region's team to improve that member experience. You know, personally, I see a lot of members, they're really not aware of the full value of their membership. So we need to get the message across about quite how broad that offering is in our membership package. And then we need to make it more accessible and easier to participate. So we've got a number of ideas that we're working on to help that happen. And I'd like to encourage everyone to read the articles on the progress in the Chemical Engineering magazine. And then maybe you can take a look at the member engagement website and learn out who's on the committee, who we are, and what we're working on. And then we'd really like to hear your feedback and what you think to make sure that we're really sort of pushing that offering.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. I think that's right. The breadth and richness of the what's on offer at IChemE has amazed me as I've been discovering over the last year. I think the emphasis on member engagement is going to be really critical to the success of IChemE in the next few years as we come out of this global pandemic and the challenges that's thrown at us. So tell me, what do you see as the role of the member groups in future?
Okay, so I actually come from a member group background myself, and I see member groups as being critical to covering that full breadth of chemical engineering, and as you've just mentioned, how much it's changing, and then providing those geographical networks and that community. It's that community aspect that's really important. So every one of us is in a member group, and the more we participate in our networking, the more that we're all going to benefit. So functionally, though, I don't think their role or function changes. They've always been there to provide CPD events and networking and mentoring support and outreach activities. However, they will need to change how they deliver, and they'll need to change from an all-in-person offering that sort of only reaches a small number of their membership. So the online events that we've been forced by COVID, they offer significant collaboration opportunity across member groups, and that will allow us with the SIGs to reach a broader membership with a much more varied content offering. But to get members to come out now in person, that requires something that's more attractive and more high quality sort of networking type opportunity. So it's been lovely to see the annual meetings back, and they're great. And I also mentioned the student hackathon, and that was an event where the entries, the judges, the sponsors of the event, the committee who organised it, and the conference attendees all got value. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about that sort of enhanced networking. So it's so give and receiving. And finally, in communicating, we can't rely just on the email and the website. We need those member groups. They're an all-important sort of local face-to-face and communication with our membership.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed having the opportunity to participate in the Aberdeen member group dinner at the end of September, and recently the Global Awards, and those were great opportunities for high quality networking. So that's a brief review of last year, the Member Engagement Committee, and some of the changes that we're making to improve member engagement and satisfaction. What were the things, Andrea, that you wanted to invite members to do now that you've shared those insights with us?
Okay. Well, really, we'd like to hear from the membership. That's what I'd like to invite. And we'd recommend that you come and visit the member engagement website and give us feedback on the direction and suggestions for any improvements you'd like. The sorts of things that we're talking about and things that we'd like you to share from that experience perspective is how do you like us to communicate? What sort of channel is it? Do you prefer email, website, video, different social media platforms? Have you got any better ideas on what good member-to-member communication would look like? So I'd love to hear the membership ideas. And I gave a couple of examples of high quality networking, but I'm sure the members have got some better ideas. So really happy to hear those ideas. Now, obviously, I talked about enjoying meeting the membership. So happy to join member group meetings virtually. But I will be over in the UK in next spring for an IChemE strategy meeting. So I'd look forward to catching up with more of the UK membership when I come over.
Andrew, that's great. And I too, I'm looking forward to meeting again in person after all this time, particularly also in getting some of the member groups together face to face with you. I'm looking forward to further developing the future strategy with the Board of Trustees. And so that really sort of wraps up some of the challenges that we are looking forward to with the Member Engagement Committee next year.
Okay, but before we go, I'd like to remind everyone of the member engagement website address and the member group email, which should be on your screens now. So you can, all that feedback, you can use that email to message us. So do go and have a look, and both Andrew and I will be really delighted to hear from you in person or online about your career journey with the IChemE. And finally, if you want to get more out of your membership, I'd personally recommend that you get involved in your local member groups. So thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Andrea. Bye.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye.